Welcome to the American Gilt Trilogy, Volume 1, Debut. Based on the true story of a Gilded Age scandal, read by the author, J.D. Peterson. And now, the American Gilt Trilogy, Part 1, The Ball. Chapter 1, June 26th, 1880, Newport, Rhode Island. French lace curtains billowed with air fresh off the Atlantic Ocean, as if to release the excitement and anticipation that charged the bedchamber. The last light of the setting sun slid across the sea and on to the house at the corner of Webster and Bellevue Avenues, where it skipped off the mirror, highlighting Sara's delicate features. "Sara Swan Whiting, you will be the belle of the ball." Bridget, her maid, looked on in admiration. Placing the last diamond pin in Sara's hair, Bridget stood back to assess her handiwork. Sara's youthful features reflected from the dressing-table mirror, her emerald eyes radiant in the looking-glass. Squinting at herself, 19-year-old Sara scrutinized her appearance for flaws. Noting the whiteness of her ivory skin, she pinched her cheeks for color. "I've been careful to wear a hat and veil to protect my complexion from the sun," she said, peering over her pert little nose. Pouting, Sara fussed with intricate brunette curls, carefully arranged high on her head in a fashionable Gibson girl style. "I wonder if my hair will be chic enough for the ball." She tilted her head from side to side, examining it in the mirror. "There are always new styles coming over from France, and I simply must be in vogue tonight." "I think you look lovely," the maid assured her. "Oh, Bridget," she twisted at a tendril, "you have such a talent for styling my hair so perfectly." The red hair attendant blushed. "Thank you, miss," she acknowledged with an appropriate servant's nod. "But it's just not quite right," Sara complained. "Can you rearrange the top a bit? I resemble my sisters. It's too matronly, and I've got to look perfect tonight. Absolutely perfect." "Of course, miss." Bridget picked up the comb and smoothed the top of Sara's hair as directed. Only 5 years older than Sara, the maid carried a maturity beyond her years. Bridget wore her own hair long, copper strands pulled back in a sensible braid, a bright contrast to her white, freckled skin. She was only 5 feet tall, her body slender but sturdy. Bridget had emigrated from Ireland after the death of her parents when she was 14 years old. Landing in the merchant city of Newport, she gained employment with the Whiting family as a housemaid and chaperone for young Sara, who was then only 9 years old. Mary, the Whitings' housekeeper, poked her round face into the room. "The coach is waiting, miss. Your mother is getting impatient." The Whitings employed many servants, as did all of society's families. It was a symbol of status. Sara turned on her vanity chair. "We're almost done here." She brushed again at the troublesome wisp of hair, a flurry of excitement stirring her into motion. "Tell her I'll be right down." She gave a fast glimpse in the mirror, practicing an alluring look, hopes of captivating attention at tonight's ball teasing her imagination. "Now, miss, right now," Mary directed, disappearing down the hall. "Quick, Bridget, help me put on my necklace." Sara reached into her jewelry box and lifted the swan pendant from a black velvet box. The jewel was a gift from her family at her debut last month, and she had instantly treasured it. Fumbling with the clasp, Sara surrendered the necklace to Bridget's competent hands. The gem dangled from a fine golden chain, so dainty one could barely see the points where the links joined. The body of the swan was a 5-carat pink diamond, while the wings and face were created with an abundance of smaller diamonds set in gold, the stones precisely matching in color. Bridget hooked the clasp, securing the necklace. Sara fingered the diamond swan, prisms of color sparkling in the facets, an elegant reminder that her first social season had arrived. Grabbing her lace gloves, she quickly rose from the bench and hurried, knowing her two older sisters, Jane and Millie, would complain and criticize her for taking so long to get dressed. When she was younger, not old enough to attend the parties, she watched her sisters go off to the balls in the family's finest carriage. Sara hated being left behind with only her fantasies, yearning for the day when she'd be permitted to attend. Now that day was here. Bridget gave her a final look. "Ah, miss, you look beautiful." She fiddled with the jewel on Sara's graceful neckline, making certain the necklace was centered. "Now go," she shooed, waving her hands, "before your mother gets in a mood, not to mention your sisters." Sara grabbed her satin-beaded purse while fidgeting with the bodice of her dress. She paused, running through a mental checklist. "My fan," she wailed. "I must have my fan." "Unnecessary accoutrement for every lady, especially a débutante," Bridget said with a calm smile. "I packed it in your bag, along with a comb and a few other things." Turning, Sara peered over her shoulder, stealing one last look in the gilded mirror. "Are you certain my dress is perfect?" she asked, brushing her hand over the soft silk fabric. She shifted to the left, then right, checking that the bustle was draping properly. "The dress looks impeccable, miss. You're fretting over nothing." "You're right, Bridget. The gown is perfect. I suppose I'm just nervous." Lightheaded with excitement, Sara completely indulged in her gaiety. Things could be so dull in the winter, and now that summer had arrived bringing the social season, life was like a fairy tale. "Have a wonderful time," Bridget grinned. Sara hurried out of the bedchamber on embroidered slippers, her golden gown cascading around her in rustling waves of whispering silk. In her haste, she stumbled on the petticoats. "Oh no!" she cried, catching herself on the door frame. Giving a fast look at the hem, she sighed, relieved she hadn't torn her dress. "Slow down, miss," Bridget warned, calling after her. "The coach won't dare depart without you."